So I got a call from a mom today. She's concerned about her son. Says he's been, quote...
If you clicked on this video, that means you've probably watched Smiling Friends, and if you've watched Smiling Friends, then you know sometimes the characters can go, you know, well, a little bit cuckoo. And as a dedicated fan who's made already one video on Smiling Friends, check out my channel if you guys want to watch that. I figured I might as well rank these Smiling Friends on a scale of kind of
who's the most insane.
So obviously these characters do get thrown into these wacky situations that sometimes causes them to go a little bit crazy, but sometimes they're just, you know, crazy on their own without really having to be thrown into anything ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that's just gonna be this video. Hope you guys enjoy, and
if you don't like and subscribe right now, Jeremy's gonna show up and haunt you for the rest of your life.
But yeah, let's get right into the video. So at the bottom of the insanity scale, we have Tyler. Now, some of you guys might not even know who Tyler is because he was only really introduced very briefly in the one episode called The Magical Red Jewel, aka Tyler Gets Fired. Now, they really did my guy wrong. Like, they just introduced him and then immediately fired him. We really didn't even know he existed up until this episode where he got fired. But unfortunately, due to unknown reason, Mr. Boss decided to fire him. Actually, I take that back. We do kind of have an idea as to why Tyler was fired. In the episode Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition God, I can't. This title is so long. Edition DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut, which is the Gwimbly episode, because you might have forgotten what I even said in the first place because the title was so long. But in the Gwimbly episode, we see Gwimbly giving a cameo to a person named James. And in that same episode, we got introduced to James. You know, he was a guy that kind of took off Charlie's nose, or what I think is his nose at least. You know, so obviously kind of a evil person. But within the cameo, we see that James wants Gwimbly to tell Tyler to go to hell. Now, this is all just a theory, but supposedly James may have gone to the Smiling Friends previously and Tyler was assigned to him, but because Tyler failed to make James smile, he ended up getting fired, and that's why James doesn't like Tyler. Now, obviously, this is just kind of an assumption. This isn't confirmed or anything, but it would be pretty interesting if that's true. Now, what we do know about him is that he is an aspiring musician, because at the post-credit scenes of that same episode, Charlie meets up with Tyler at a local bar where he promises to vouch for Mr. Boss to, you know, kind of give him another chance after he was just fired. But he says that he instead will try to focus on his music career, so, you know, they kind of agree on that, and we never really get a mention of him afterwards, so who knows, maybe he's making it big. We'll never really know, I guess, until they mention him. So yeah, I mean, we really don't know enough about him to really make a decision on how insane he is. Like, all we do know is he is an aspiring musician, and he seems like a normal dude, so he's at the bottom of this list.
Straight hire you.
Yeah, fuck that noise, man. I'm just gonna keep making my music.
Respect, man. Respect.
Next up, we have Smormu, who everybody loves, or okay, well, only half of you guys love him, I guess, because he was the short-lived 5th member of Smiling Friends after earning the role in a very, very close vote that split the country into two. Now, I say short-lived because literally at the end credits of that same episode, he's shown dead. We don't really know why, but he does look like he took some bruises. So either he was beat to death, or, I mean, you know, whatever happened, it wasn't a very peaceful death. We really don't know what happened to him because we got no confirmation. But, yeah, I don't know what he did to deserve that. Now, overall, he doesn't really seem like an insane kind of guy. The only reason I put him above Tyler is just the fact that, you know, he's kind of overly enthusiastic and his little sing-song, and that doesn't really seem super normal. But again, we don't really know enough about him to really make a statement that he's more insane than any of the other Smiling Friends characters. So, yeah, that's why he goes towards the bottom of this list, but still above Tyler.
I'm done! Smormu is here to stay!
Now, next up, we have Glep. Everybody loves him. I mean, without him, this show wouldn't be what it is today. I mean, I don't even know if this show would be successful without Glep. But, I mean, Glep overall seems like a very, very chill guy. I mean, like, his likes are just playing on his tablet, watching videos, video games, and, you know, he also likes to sleep and spend time with his wife, which, I mean, all of these things are very valid. And, I mean, he really only has 2 enemies, one being Rex, who was the producer who worked on the Mr. Frog show, and the other one being Brittany, the literal daughter of Satan. Now, really, the only glimpse of insanity we get from Glep is when he spits on Rex, which, you know, that was during the kind of interview or whatever that got him the Mr. Frog show job. But I mean, that in itself isn't really even insane. Like, you kind of gotta be a little bit crazy to, you know, spit on somebody who is maybe possibly the producer of your next job. But I mean, it worked for him, obviously, so yeah, that's that. But, you know, compared to all of the other Smiling Friends cast, it's not that crazy. Now, next up we have Charlie. Now, Charlie, despite being put into a lot of really crazy situations, we haven't really seen him exactly be insane or go insane. I mean, like, really the only times we see him get close to kind of crazy is like when he's a little bit angry. You know, like the only times he really does ever show violence is, you know, for example, I mean, the one time he was literally in hell, he punched Jeremy, and that was literally after warning him to not jump scare him like that again, and that is honestly for a very good cause, because it is known that he, or by he, I mean Charlie, he has a heart condition where he literally has a pacemaker, so, you know, jump scares like that can literally kill him, so, I mean, I guess he's in hell, so how would that even, I don't even know if you could die in hell again, but yeah, you kind of get the point. He's kind of against kind of jump scares. You can see that in the episode where they kill Brittany, or, you know, Satan's daughter, and save Mr. Boss. After Mr. Boss kind of jump scares him, he kind of gets mad over that. But again, if you were in that situation, like, that's a very reasonable thing to be angry at, because, you know, you have a pacemaker, your heart's not very, you know, good, and so doing that kind of stuff could kill you. So, you know, not really insane. And the one thing that I would say that is, like, brings him the closest to, like, maybe kind of crazy is when he kills himself after cutting down a tree and it falls on him. But I mean, like, that was out of pure spite and anger, that he was having an argument with Pim, and so, I mean, he didn't even mean to kill himself like that. He just was cutting the tree out of anger, and that just happened to kill himself and send him to hell. So, I mean, yeah, that's about it. He's a pretty relatable and, like, normal dude, especially for the amount of times we see him put into, like, absolutely crazy situations. Like, he's an overall normal guy.
You are getting kind of old, dude. What? Yeah, no, I mean, it's okay. You know, like, we're all getting older, I guess our best.
Now, next up, we have Alan, and this might surprise some of you guys considering how little Alan is actually kind of the main character or whatever, and you see him into like these crazy situations. But in the episodes that we do see him in these situations, you kind of see how kind of crazy this guy is. Now, a big one is in season 2 episode 3, which is the Alan paperclip episode, which I'm sure most of you guys have watched, and it's pretty funny. I really enjoyed it. You really get to see how Alan reacts to these kind of crazy situations that the other characters oftentimes are put in. And this is where we start to see kind of the crazier and confrontational side of Alan, and in which, you know, one of the scenes where DJ Spit, the famous SoundCloud rapper, takes away his paperclips that he finally was able to get and hops into a helicopter and literally starts flying away. Instead of just giving up there, Alan actually leaps off of the building and climbs onto the helicopter. And you gotta be a little bit crazy to do that. Like, if that was, you know, Charlie in that situation, he would have just given up. He would have been like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to jump onto that because that's literally flying away right now. Not only that, he still hangs on when the US military is literally shooting missiles at the helicopter. And in that situation, any other character would be freaking out, and Alan is just completely calm. Like, again, you have to be a little bit insane to be that calm in that kind of situation. Kind of the cherry on top of that episode specifically is towards the end when the landowner or landlord, the landlord guy, kills himself after, you know, failing to essentially keep Alan to play video games after Alan disables his bomb, and Alan doesn't even really react to the guy killing himself. Like, he just kind of walks over and, as a matter of fact, steps in his blood and doesn't seem to care. He just, like, walks away. And now this could kind of be his nonchalant personality, but also, again, like I said, for all of these things, you gotta be a little bit cuckoo in your brain to just not react to some dude stabbing himself in the stomach. Like, any other character would have had some kind of reaction to it. So, yeah, that's why I put Alan up here in this list, because, you know, just from that one episode, you kind of get to see that Alan, although nonchalant, he's a little bit insane.
I'm just trying to do my job.
Now, next up, we have our big man Pim himself, or, well, small man, I guess, I don't know, whatever you want to really call him, but the man himself, Pim. Now, at first glance, again, Pim, I mean, he just seems like a really positive guy in every episode who is kind of the more optimistic version of Charlie, kind of the happy-go-lucky guy, but I also think that's kind of why he's a little bit insane. Now, Pim is essentially in almost every single episode of the Smiling Friends, but a very ongoing theme that we see in every episode that he's in is that he starts off very, very happy and normal, but by the end he's kind of, well, distraught and looks as if he just went through an entire month of training with David Goggins. Like, this man does not look well. Every time he goes through these things, he looks a little bit more kind of, you know, deranged. And especially a really good animation or like moment that you can see this is in the Enchanted Forest episode, in which Charlie and Pym go to the Enchanted Forest, and Charlie isn't really, you know, optimistic or doesn't really want to do it, whereas Pym has dreamed of going here ever since he was a little child. But when they get there, Charlie's the one who's getting all the attention, and Pym kind of gets jealous, and so he starts to go a little bit feral, and we kind of start to see that he's a little bit cray-cray. And, you know, this ends up leading to him killing Mip, and, you know, I mean, you've got to have a little bit of insanity to kind of go so jealous that you end up killing a guy. And obviously after he kills him, he kind of snaps out of this, but this is kind of a reoccurring theme in every episode, well, not every episode, but almost every episode. Even in the pilot episode, we see Pym starting off as this optimistic, really nice guy, but by the end of the episode, I mean, again, the animation styles change, and he looks like a dried up grape. He does not look good at all, and obviously that does something to somebody's mental state. And if we're really saying that, you know, Pym is a character that goes through all of these events, I'm gonna have to say that going through all of this has to make you a little bit mentally insane. Like, every episode going through something that, you know, literally makes you look like that is just kind of bad for you.
Okay. I think it's because he drank a green potion from a stranger.
I don't think it's because of the potion I drank. I think it's just because of allergies.
That is not allergies, Charlie.
Now, last but certainly not least, I don't even think I really need an explanation for this, but we got Boss, or Mr. Boss. And, well, I mean, genuinely, you could put him in the most normal situation ever, and he'll be kind of crazy, like insane. Even in the most normal scenarios, we see a little glimpse of some kind of weird demon-possessed side of him, in which, you know, he'll just be eating spaghetti, and then his eyes will just glow red. Like, what? And then even earlier, back in season 1, we get to see this kind of bipolar disorder kind of thing going on, where in the Frowning Friends episode, he goes up to his room or little attic that, you know, I guess nobody knows about, and his kind of devilish and demonic side tells him he needs to take things into his own hands as he grabs an AK and storms into the Frowning Friends. And we see him kind of going through these changes as if he's like, you know, Spider-Man with venom inside of him, trying to get it out. And although although in season 2, we get to see this more loving side of him where he kind of treats his workers as family and, you know, seems like a very nice guy, there's also moments in we get to see this more, you know, killer side of him where he will take things into his own hands and murder people if needed. And in my opinion, or in my very, very humble opinion, I would say that people who can switch back and forth between those two personalities are far more insane than somebody who's always just in kind of a killer mode. Like, you never know when he's gonna switch up, which makes him even crazier. So yeah, that's gonna be about it for this video. Let me know if you guys agreed or if you guys don't and whatnot, and you know, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one, hopefully.